I think we need to bully people again. Like,
I literally say that. I
do
say
you really?
that all the time. I got bullied so hard when I was younger.
And look at you now, you know?
Now I'm the bully.
Did you really get bullied a lot in school?
Yeah.
Really?
I had to move schools.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You went to public school?
Actually, it was Christian school.
Christians can be the worst sometimes.
I was bullied really bad, and I went to a school called Cross Lutheran in New Braunfels.
Okay.
And I was bullied really, really badly. So my parents actually took me out and put me in public school, and I was never bullied in public school. But
it was just in Christian school that you got bullied?
What
were they bullying you for? Let's go back and relive that trauma.
I don't fully remember. I think it was just more like, I mean, I was younger. I got out of it in 4th grade. But a lot of those kids had been, like, they all knew each other growing up. And so when I was moved from one Christian school to that school, I just, like, wasn't in their cliques. And it was multiple grades in one class.
Oh, wow.
So I think that was the other thing.
So, like, older kids were bullying younger kids, or maybe vice versa. Mm-hmm. Were you fat when you were a kid?
No, I wasn't fat.
Not fat. Were you ugly?
No, I was probably just, like, a little annoying.
Okay.
I have a really short attention
I want to make sure
span.
you didn't deserve it. That's what I'm trying to get to.
I'm not going to say I didn't, but it definitely, like, taught me some life lessons. But what's interesting is when I was put in public school, I went to, like, my first day thinking, all right, I'm not going to be bullied at this new school. So if I go in as the bully, then you can't bully me.
Oh, so you just went in guns hot.
Yeah, so
just ripping everyone.
Literally my first day, I actually met my best friend. Now we've been best friends for close to 20 years. But first day of class, you know how everyone stands up and has to introduce themselves?
I don't know because I was homeschooled.
You were in a cult.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I was in a cult as well. The homeschool and the cult were separate, okay. But yes, I was homeschooled and in a cult, and so I never really got that experience. We never said the Pledge of Allegiance or did announcements in the morning or anything. Yeah, we just read the Bible.
Right under your desk for threats.
Never did. Yeah, never had to do that either.
You missed out.
Yeah, very few schools. It was a good experience, I guess, in that respect.
Yeah. So one time Dad came home.
Thank you, Elliott. Yeah.
Oh. Interesting. I didn't know that about you.
Yeah. Homeschooled.
Explains a lot.
Whoa. I actually don't feel bad anymore about asking if you were an ugly kid.
It's okay.
I think I might need to bully. It sounds like you need to be put in your place a little bit right about now.
You're speaking my love language.
You have this experience as a kid going to private school, then transitioning to public school. Do you think like the bullying that you experienced as a kid like influenced your decision to get into modeling?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe like subconsciously, I probably was like in my head thinking I want to impress people. Because
you made that decision early on. I mean, was it your decision to get into modeling?
Yeah, I think I've always had like a hustler inside me in a way.
Okay. That sounds weird. That's a weird way to say it, but Elliott, do you ever feel like you've had a hustler inside you?
Yeah, Mr. Worldwide.
Yeah, as soon as that came out of my mouth, I was like, I need sleep and a burger.
By the way, I should probably introduce you. Y'all, this is Alyssa Magnum. Is that your real last name, Magnum? Mm-hmm. Wow.
Not technically.
Crazy. But. Yeah, I mean, it just gives a whole new perspective to the hustler inside you. But yeah, okay. Alyssa Magnum, she is a internationally published model.
Thank you.
You've been in multiple magazines. You've been in commercials. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've done everything in the modeling industry.
Yeah, actually, you want to know kind of something crazy? How the world kind of brings everybody back together, I think. So like close to 9 years ago, I did a commercial and a photo shoot for two separate companies. One's called Go Smile, which is a teeth whitening toothbrush system.
Okay.
And then the other one is Moonshine Sweet Tea. It's like all over in Texas.
Okay.
Well, fast forward to now I'm dating somebody. And we didn't like ever talk about this, but the first time I ever was brushing my teeth in his bathroom, I saw his toothbrush and I said, wow, I used to model for, or I did a commercial for that toothbrush company. And he goes, no way, my grandpa owns that company.
What? Mm-hmm. You were working for his grandpa before y'all ever met?
Like 9 years ago.
What a meet cute.
Oh, no, it gets even crazier. So then I said, yeah, I did. Like around that time, I used to model for a lot of companies. I started listing them off. Turns out his grandpa also owned, and his uncle and dad also owned Moonshine Sweet Tea.
Oh, so your boyfriend is so rich. Insanely wealthy, I'm assuming.
I don't know.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. There are
I will say this is the first time ever in my life I get to experience this, but so I'm about to be 30 and he just surprised me with tickets to go see the Mike Tyson fight and we're going in a private jet.
Y'all are taking a private jet to go
Dallas
watch Mike
weekend.
Tyson and which Paul brother is it? Jake Paul, right?
Yeah, Jake Paul. Or Logan.
Who do you think's going to win that one?
I hope Mike. I really hope Mike.
Really?
God, yeah.
Do you just not like Jake Paul?
No, I like him. I think he's a phenomenal athlete. I just really want Mike to win.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? That's very open-minded of you.
Yeah.
You're rooting for the culture.
Absolutely.
In that case. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. But y'all are flying on a private jet.
Yeah.
I don't know if he has a lot of money.
Yeah, I don't know if
You
he's
liar.
rich.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, how did y'all meet?
Just by fate, honestly. Like I love to go to car events. And
That's
so,
right.
like,
Yeah.
over a year ago, I went to this car event and I was actually going through like a semi kind of like breakup at the time.
Okay.
And I ended up actually going to this car event and my ex showed up and like purposely to hurt me, he brought a stripper, which is now my friend. So I don't want to call her that anymore.
Well, I mean,
But
that's her
time,
chosen
that's
industry.
what- yeah. So
we call them exotic athletes.
yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he brought her to like purposely like he like threatened me with it. He was like, if you go to this event, I'm literally gonna bring her. He's like, I'm gonna bring the stripper. That's literally what he told me.
Wow.
And so I showed up with all my girlfriends because I was like, you know what? Like you're not gonna try to prevent me from doing something I want to do to like with threats. And because it turned out he'd been seeing her the whole time. I had no idea.
He'd been cheating on you the whole time?
I mean, for like the last like maybe like month that we had been together.
Okay.
Yeah, and I had found out about it when I confronted him about it. That's when he was like, "Oh, if you go tonight, I'm gonna bring her." Yeah. So
Wow, he just doubled down. Like, yes, I cheated on you,
Yeah.
and also I'm gonna rub it in your face.
Yeah. Well, he was like he's very Russian and like very like set in his ways.
Oh, I didn't know Russians.
He's very hard.
Like, I didn't know that was a thing that they did.
If you bring her,
They're just very
First of
like,
all, it was a
dominant
terrible
and,
Russian
like,
accent. Putin would be so upset.
and, like threatening. I don't know, but I mean that was like part of the draw. I would say, but
So he brought this girl, but you ended up meeting your now boyfriend.
Yeah. But we didn't like really talk that much then. I was just taking some photos with some cars that were there, and he was standing with a couple people that were really talking to me for a long time. And actually, one of the guys was like an older gentleman.
Oh, cute.
And he asked me to dinner.
The older gentleman?
The older gentleman, yeah.
Oh.
But like,
Did he seem
older.
rich too?
Honestly, I didn't really talk to him a ton, so
Okay.
who knows? I wasn't thinking about it.
Did you go to dinner with him?
No, God, no.
Oh no. Okay. Okay.
But fast forward, so my boyfriend actually opened up a company by himself. And
Really?
Yeah, he does like, it's called Red Box Restorations. He fixes up and does really, really cool work on exotic cars and
Nice.
like old classic cars.
That's awesome.
Well, it turns out, so his company had reached out to me. I didn't know it was him. I thought it was someone else. I didn't realize that was his company. But they reached out to me on social media and was like, hey, we have a lot of exotic cars. If you want to come by and do some content here, and then it'll be like advertising for them, and then I get some content.
Sure.
So when I went the first time, I saw him there and I was like, oh, do you work here? He's like, oh, no, like I own this. I was like, because he's younger actually. So
Younger than you?
yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So it kind of caught me off guard. I didn't know that at the time actually, but it caught me off guard because I didn't realize. And that one older gentleman was there.
And you thought he owned the company?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
there was a couple different times.
Well, so that, I mean, I think that kind of proves you're not a gold digger, because if you thought the older guy was the owner, you would have gone to dinner with him.
Right.
But it turns out the
Yeah.
guy that's younger than you, you're just cooking up now. I mean,
100%.
realistically,
I think I cracked the code, honestly. Like, to date younger, I think is like, I always said date older because it takes a little bit to balance out the maturity level.
okay.
But after dating really only like a little bit older guys, I realized that it doesn't necessarily matter the age. It just matters like the maturity level.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I, as a 41-year-old, I have to disagree with you strongly on
You're
that because
41?
and
I was
you're
never gonna
really,
guess that.
oh, well, thank you. Elliot, how old did you think I was?
39.
39. Okay, well, so dating a younger guy, I mean, historically you've dated older men.
Yeah.
Do you think this is better?
I mean, he's like really the only younger person I've really dated.
Okay.
But I will say he's treated me better than anybody I've ever dated that's like older than me.
Really? Do you think it's because he loves you more than you love him?
No.
No?
We're like obsessed with each other.
Okay, well that's good. I feel there has to be a balance of power there.
Yeah, I
but you
think-
are the model, right? I mean, you're probably the hot one in the relationship. And so he's probably, I mean, honestly, that's a perfect setup. You want the other person to be trying their absolute hardest, you know?
I think I haven't dated, like, all in my past, all the guys I've dated were all like the same person, if that makes sense. Like different people, but they were all clones of each other.
Really?
Once I've done like more therapy and really looked back at my past, it turns out every single guy I've been attracted to, they have the same patterns, the same type of personality, same even body type.
What kind of guy is it? Like,
Mainly like bodybuilder, foreign bodybuilders that are somewhat professional fighters.
oh, interesting. Okay. So just really angry dudes for the most part is what we're talking here. Okay. And now I'm assuming your new boyfriend is not a foreign bodybuilder? He's not?
No.
Okay.
He like works on cars and runs a business and
how is
like,
it getting used to that change? Not only is he younger, but he's also like kind of the inverse and opposite of what you would normally go for. Is that?
It's definitely interesting because everybody would always say like you need to date somebody that's not your type to find a not toxic, like healthy relationship.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to like keep doing, but obviously it wasn't working out. I was putting myself through a lot of pain and heartache and reliving the same issues over and over again. Finally, I just decided to be single because I was like, if all these guys are like that, I just don't want to date anymore.
Yeah.
So I was single for a really long time. And then when I met him, it just like completely changed. I was like, wow, this is what it's like to be in a healthy relationship.
Oh my God. We can actually get along. You texted me back. That's the bar. That's how low the bar is.
Like, it's so bad. Like I would, like the first couple of dates, I would be hanging out with him at his place and I would be checking my watch to be like, oh, am I here too long? Like, should I leave? Am I spending too much time here? Like, am I texting him too much? And he's like, no, like I want you here. Like I want to text you. Because he's never been in any bad, like toxic relationship. So
he has never been in a toxic. So it's just you bringing all this baggage into the relationship with him. Oh,
literally.
wow.
But I'm not like, I've like worked through all of it. I would say in like a lot of therapy I've done. So honestly, we haven't had any issues.
That's good.
It's been really good. It's just more of like, I will check myself every once in a while and I will like double down on, okay, this is what I'm feeling. And then I have to think like, is this something am I feeling this because he's causing it? Or am I, being delusional and coming up with issues just because that's what I'm used to?
Right.
And usually that's what it is.
That is tough to get over. Like once you've dated a certain way for that long, it can be tough to break out of those old patterns and cycles.
Especially if you have experience being with a narcissist, like in any aspect, they literally like change your brain chemistry, like actually. And so you really start to have like a lot of, it's like all these guys that I've dated in the past, like they were, physically perfect in every way for the most part. But they didn't realize that. So they had a lot of self-image issues, which is why I think they put like so much energy into their bodies. And in return, they would do nothing but break me down.
Interesting.
So like I would be constantly told I'm not attractive or I'm too fat or I'm too skinny or I need a bigger butt, I need fake boobs, like I need to get my teeth fixed. Like I've been told so many different things. And
your eyes are too close together, your nose is a little big.
I've been told that I have crazy eyes and I have my ex-husband actually used to say he called me great white shark. Yeah, because he said I showed too much gums smiling.
What?
Yeah. So.
Oh, I thought he was talking about your eyes.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So I like got Botox here to like prevent my gums from like my smile to like go too high, and then also he had me get my teeth fixed. I had perfect teeth. I had braces twice, but he like said they weren't like wide enough. So. Wow.
Yeah. So you got braces twice just because your ex called you a great white shark.
Well, it was like before that, like afterwards, he was like, you need to fix your teeth. I'm like, I had braces twice. Like, what else do you want me to do?
I can't fix them anymore.
Yeah.
That's interesting about the Botox thing. I kind of want to talk about that a little bit more, but
yeah.
What I'm really curious about. So obviously you've done all kinds of modeling.
Yeah.
You started out when you were much younger doing commercial modeling. Now you are a spicy content model. You obviously have your websites and all that fun stuff. I was really curious what it's like dating in that kind of environment, right? Like, how does your boyfriend deal with that? Because obviously, I mean...
No, that's a great question. So I get that a lot, actually, that question. So he's fine. He doesn't... it's only been 3 months, so maybe, something will come out in the future. But so far, he does not care at all. And I think it's because we have so much trust. And he knows that to me, it's just like a source of income.
Right.
So the thing is, though, is prior to him, it wasn't like that.
Really?
Any type of guy I would try to date or just like really talk to about it, several guys would tell me like, oh, I'm fine with it. And then like very shortly after, as soon as they would like find out more information on it, they would start to like try to be a little bit more controlling. And
they knew this going into the relationship, right? That
Yeah.
you do spicy content. This is my livelihood. This is what I do. And they knew that up front, thought they could deal with it maybe. And then
Yeah.
or maybe they didn't even think they could deal with it. They were just like, I'll
they
convince her not to
were
do
just
it.
trying to like keep me, I think,
Right.
in their lives. Yeah.
But the current guy, no problems at all with it thus
So
far.
secure. Like he is the most secure guy I've ever dated, ever. Like not questions me about anything.
So it's not about being ripped. It's not about being the best looking guy in the world. It's about having a lot of money. That's what it sounds like to me, right?
No.
That's how I need to work on my self-esteem.
I think being kind, like everyone says, oh, nice guys finish last. It's like, no. I mean, maybe it takes a little bit longer for the nice guy to find somebody just because, you know, I think a lot of women are used to those toxic chemicals and those mind games. But in the long run, I think that being kind and being like a genuine good person to your core is what's really going to capture someone's like full heart and attention, like for the long term.
Boy, I'm going to have a really hard time with a lot of what you're saying today because I have to be nice. What? I'm not capable of being nice.
You know, I didn't think I was either.
Did you bully your boyfriend when you first met him?
No.
No?
Not this one.
Not the current one? You never bullied him?
Do
you bully him now?
Never. I would bully somebody if I saw anyone ever be like mean or disrespectful to him. I would come after them.
Just roast the hell out of him. Oh, very protective.
Yeah.
Very.
He's my prized possession.
He's you sound like a lioness right now, protecting your dude or whatever. That was the dumbest analogy I've ever.
Anybody like treat me like literally as good as he does.
That's so cool. That's really, really cool. And it's awesome that he is okay with your profession because like you said, I mean, you modeled for years.
He calls me his sugar mama.
That's so cute.
Because I think it was our second or third date. We went to a brunch and the waitress came and I pulled out my card and I paid for it. And he was like so caught off guard. He was like, what? He was like, you're not paying for this. And I was like, oh, I already did. And he was like, I'm not used to that. I'm used to like girls just automatically expecting me to pay for everything. And since then I've paid we'll rotate.
So there really is a balance in this relationship for you.
Because I don't want him to think that I'm like with him I mean, at the time I didn't know he was like comes from like any kind of wealth.
Yeah.
And he even asked me like in the beginning, he was like, oh, I have to be careful. Like, cause he's very low key. Like he doesn't get on social media. He's not like, he doesn't go out a ton. He's like he's a very private person. And he told me that he was like, oh, well, when you first like showed some interest, I didn't know if it was like for the wrong reasons because like girls do that, I guess, with him.
Well, especially girls in your industry. I mean,
yeah, no, that makes 100%.
You know?
Like I totally get it, but it's funny because I literally thought he lived in like a small apartment. Like I didn't know he was the business owner. The only reason I started like becoming more attracted to him because I've known him for over a year and been around him at a lot of events, but never really gave him much attention. But the thing is, I started noticing that more events that we would like be standing next to each other, my subconscious would feel really relaxed. So I get really bad social anxiety.
Okay.
So anytime we go to these events, I always feel kind of like on edge a little bit.
Claustrophobic, sure.
Yeah. And so I noticed that when I would be around him, for some reason, I would just feel like I could take a deep breath and I would just feel really calm.
You felt safe.
Yeah, but like that was like before we even like really talked or anything. I just in his presence, I just felt that. And so I started being like, wow, I want to like experience this more. So when I started modeling at his business, I've done like a lot of my content is from his business. A lot of different exotic cars.
Like just normal like social media type stuff, but like, also like the spicy stuff?
Not spicy, but like all my OnlyFans TV episodes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I do car ratings on exotic cars. I talk about like different like specs on the cars.
See, I was trying not to be creepy about that, so I didn't want to look up, any of your modeling stuff. Yeah, I didn't want to like do a deep dive and accidentally see something that I didn't want to see right before an interview, So I was not aware that you were doing all this different. So it's a lot more than just like the spicy side of it for you. That's a
very small amount of it, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're much more so into like the car scene
Yes.
and like what are here in San Antonio? It's like the lowrider girls, right? Like they go to the car shows and that sort of thing. But you're more so on the
exotic side.
Okay.
Yeah, Need for Speed.
Okay, is that like really popular too?
It is. It's growing.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, I know like F1 is a big deal in Austin now.
Well, we have 2 racetracks in Austin, so
Right.
it's definitely becoming more of a car scene there.
Do you model for those events a lot too?
I try to. Yeah, I'm out there quite a bit.
Interesting. Okay, so the spicy stuff is really just a very small part of what
For
you
me,
do.
I mean, it's different for each girl, but a lot
Sure.
of the girls that I model with, like especially with my agency, they like some of them are professional fighters or they have their own cooking shows. Like it's not just
Do they do the cooking shows in like bikinis and stuff?
Not even, no.
Oh no,
Just like normal clothes.
just regular. Okay,
like in a kitchen, they do like family recipes and stuff.
like an HGTV type setup.
Yeah, and then one of my closest friends, she does wing rating. So she goes to like different restaurants and tries like the different like spicy wings, and then rates them.
Isn't that? But does she also do like the spicy content too? or-
Barely.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Well, that's actually kind of cool because I always thought about like like OnlyFans. Like there's an expiration date on it, right? You can only do that for so long.
Yeah, that's why you have to kind of make it to some, like there's a lot of girls out there willing to take off their clothes and do photos. So you have to
Sure.
kind of find something that is a little bit different that's going to keep people's attention.
That sounds much more sustainable than just, like you said, taking off your
It
clothes.
opens up a lot of doors too.
Yeah,
Because I've been able to do a lot of really cool stuff.
Being a model, I know that y'all are dealing with so many just like really creepy guys. I'm sure you get your fair, especially like in the car scene, I would think, right?
Actually, no, I don't have any issues with any of the car people.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're just getting weird DMs from just normal dudes that don't even care about the cars?
The only person ever that's like been a little bit on like the more creepy side was the guy that I first met when I met my boyfriend that asked
The
me
old
to
guy?
dinner.
Really?
He has asked me to dinner like 20 times. And finally, he was at the shop when I went there once to film an OnlyFans TV episode.
Yeah.
And he was there and he was in front of Christian. He goes, hey, can I take you to dinner? I have reservations tonight. And I said, only if Christian goes. Because I was trying to flirt with him, but he was not picking up on my hints.
Oh, wow. Oh.
And I was like, only if Christian goes. And Christian was like, I'm not going.
I don't want to go on a date with you.
I'm like, bro, I was like, I want you to take me to dinner, not this dude. Because it's like his like adopted uncle. It's his grandpa's best friend.
Oh, how weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I'm like, he's asked me to dinner so many times. So finally he picked up on the hint and then ended up asking me to dinner like days later. But
So that's the only guy that's ever gotten like weird
in
with
the
you?
car scene.
You've never had like a stalker or anything?
Actually, I've been really fortunate. Yeah.
Huh.
So I thought I had a stalker like a couple years back because when I first got divorced many years ago at this point, his entire family was being harassed, saying like this guy was like creating all these different like messages, but from different phone numbers. And massively, never sent me one, but was sending all 12 of his siblings, his parents, like, oh, like he effed up, like he messed up. He should have treated you better. I'm going to come for him. I'm going to come for his family. Like all these threats.
What?
So I got really scared because I'm like, if this person is literally threatening, and this was like way after the divorce. So like I was over it. And I'm like, why, if this person is like going and putting this much effort, like they put a police report out and everything. I started getting so freaked out. I went and bought a gun. And I was like not going anywhere because I was like, this person knew things about me that I haven't told like a lot of people or like only. So I knew it was somebody close to me because this person knew a lot more details about my life than I like put on social media. And so I was like really freaked out. I had no idea who was like sending out all these threats and like doing all this stuff.
Wait, so it's someone threatening your ex-husband's family.
Yeah.
And it turned out just to be your ex-husband, basically?
No.
Oh, no, it was someone different. Okay.
Completely different.
I was so confused. I thought it was your ex-husband basically like faking to be someone
he
else.
was scared. Like, actually, like, they were all freaking out. He was like, do you know who this could be? Like, we had stopped talking for
And you never figured out who it was?
I did.
Oh, you did figure out who it was?
I did find out. I didn't find out until years later when I was just, like, having dinner with a friend. And this friend was like, oh, do you remember this one time when this happened? And I was like, oh, but I didn't know where he was going with it. So I was like, oh my God, yeah, that was such a scary time in my life. Like, I still to this day don't know who was doing that. He goes, oh yeah, it was me. I was like,
so he was just terrorizing this guy's family sticking up for you, basically.
No, literally.
What a good friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he didn't tell me until years later.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a great bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just play the long game on it. That's fantastic.
And I asked him, I was like, how'd you do that? And he said he created an app that would with every text message, create a new phone number that wasn't traceable.
Whoa, this guy went created
him,
his
like,
own mobile app for it?
Like, no one's ever done that for me before.
Did he?
I don't know.
Oh, you never gave him a shot?
I mean, I think he did love me, but not like romantically.
Oh,
yeah,
I see.
he loved me as like a sister.
Oh,
Like I've known him since I was like a little girl.
interesting.
Yeah.
You sure he doesn't love you he wants to love you, really love you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like we've hung out a bunch of times and it's never been like.
I never believe that. I never believe it. I don't think most guys, like I'm talking like 99% of guys, I don't believe they are capable of having a platonic relationship.
Yeah. So the only way I think for that to happen is if one doesn't find the other attractive. Like
you don't think he finds you attractive?
I don't. I just because he saw me as like a little girl. I just think he doesn't like look at me like that.
It's just kind of freaky for him, probably.
Yeah, and he's a little older. But I will say, when there was a time in our lives where we both were single, and I did like put it out there for a very short.
You shot your shot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And he was like not about it. So.
No bites, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I truly think, and I don't think I was truly about it either. I was just kind of like lonely,
Yeah.
and he was just somebody that made me feel comfortable.
Yeah, he made you feel safe. Obviously,
so
he's out there creating entire apps to.
Well, that was like a big thing.
Roast your
it was
ex's
like
family.
After that, when I found out, I was like, oh, should I be like maybe thinking about him like that? Because it was like really. I mean, in a crazy way. It was like really sweet.
You know what? It kind of was. Yeah. I mean,
so I put
who
it out
wouldn't?
there,
I
but
would
it was
love for someone to go and terrorize one of my toxic ex's families. I'm sure there's a lot of women out there that would love for a dude to. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. But in reality, it's usually almost always my fault anyway. So realistically, you should be terrorizing my family on behalf of my exes. Yeah. Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about like you were married, which I did not know.
A lot of people don't, and I actually forget.
You forget that you
like all the time
made vows in front of God to love and hold and have, or whatever the thing is.
Well, the brain is an interesting organ,
True.
Because your brain actually does push out bad memories over time, especially after like a 7-year period. Your brain actually does that. And
I'm an expert disassociator.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to tell me.
Yeah.
I get it.
It's actually a really cool quality, and that's how like humans survive to live for as long as they do. So.
But you were married, like fully married.
Yeah.
Like right out of high school.
Like we lived in England. We had our own house. Like.
Wow. For 3
we
years.
traveled the world together. It was like, I actually forget about it until sometimes when I do psychedelics, and then you know how it like makes your brain like pretty much open up. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I'll like, especially if I'm by myself, I'll just have like a memory or something that hasn't popped up in a while, and I'll be like, it literally feels like I'm looking at someone else's life, like another person living another life. Like I feel like, I'm about to be 30, but I've lived many, many lives. Like I've had multiple careers. I've lived around the world. I've been married before. It's just, I get caught up in the everyday life. Yeah. Especially in Austin, it's like it's a small bubble.
It is.
So it's
and there's always something going on.
There's always something.
It's easy to ignore and distract yourself.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Yeah. So y'all met. You were telling me y'all met in high school. Like y'all were high school.
Way before high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he had 12 siblings. So I was like best friends with his sisters.
12 siblings.
Yeah. Like he's also known me since I was like a little girl.
Really?
Yeah.
And you said he was homeschooled? Mm-hmm. How was that? I mean, because you were never homeschooled. You went to private school.
Yeah.
I mean, you were, compared to him, very experienced. Like you'd seen stuff that he probably couldn't even imagine, I'm sure.
Literally.
Yeah. And then like dating a homeschool guy. What is that because I was a homeschooled guy. So I'm always curious, like what is that experience?
Well, he had a lot of siblings and a lot of friends. He was very popular. So yeah, like, and he did a lot of like a lot of sports and outside of school. Okay. Yeah. So I would say he was very social. Okay. So he didn't really have any social issues. Like there was nothing really weird. Like if I didn't know he was homeschooled, I would never assume that he was homeschooled.
Interesting.
He was-
Okay,
he
so
was
that
very
was the
normal.
opposite for me because everyone was like, "There's something weird about this dude," especially like right up.
We all know people like that.
Yeah.
He just wasn't one of them.
He wasn't one of them.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's kind of so. Really, that didn't even have an impact on your relationship like that.
No,
he was just a normal
I would
dude.
say what had an impact on our relationship the most was his body image issues.
He had body dysmorphia.
Majorly.
Was he a bodybuilder too?
Yeah.
Really? Homeschool bodybuilder. How interesting is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
He got like, I mean, long story short, we separated because he became like very controlling, and he broke our wedding vows.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that had a lot to do with like maybe hormonal imbalances?
Absolutely.
Really?
And I gave him an ultimatum. I said, you got to stop what you're doing or I will leave.
Oh, he was juicing up.
Like, but he never had like an off cycle. On his off cycles, he was doing SARMs.
Oh, wow. So it was just
It was
nonstop for him.
nonstop, Yeah.
That
Like
that can't be
night
good for
before-
you.
No, he would end up in the hospital a couple times.
Really?
Yeah. And then like every night before bed, we would like be brushing our teeth, and he would spend like an extra 10, 15 minutes staring at himself in the mirror, just being like, oh, I'm too small. I'm too small. Even though he was huge, like he was 100% muscle.
You see guys like that in the gym or women like
Yeah.
that. And you're just like, wow, I wish I could look like that. And then you get inside their head and
They're
realize,
the most, I would say like the big bodybuilder guys that I've experienced anyways are the most insecure dudes. Like the bigger they are, the more insecure they are.
the
It's
bigger
really
the
unfortunate.
muscles, the smaller the ego.
It's true.
That's
I mean,
wild.
And I'm not talking like based on my experience with like one person. Like I was around those type of people, and it's very easy to observe it.
Elliott, you're a tiny guy.
Yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure.
how's your self-confidence? Like, do you think you would be
it's-
more confident if you were like big muscly guy?
It's hard to say because I've definitely never put in the work to do that.
Okay.
I'm confident enough to, I don't know, do what I do. I don't know. That's tough to say.
Because
I've always wanted to be jacked. I've always like, been like, you watch Spider-Man,
Right.
you're like fucking, yeah, dude.
Spider-Man, he was never my like kind of physical goal, I would say. Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield, maybe.
I don't know why that was the first guy that popped into my head, but like, I don't know, Superman, Spider-Man, just Batman, I don't know, something.
Yes. Superman, that makes a little more because I've always had very skinny legs. And I've always been like,
But you're also tall.
I am, which
Which
is nice.
is really nice.
It's good to be tall, yeah. But I've always been like very insecure about my skinny legs, and so I've always thought like, boy, if I could just put some muscle on these,
Your legs
these
are not that
pencils.
skinny.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you saying that.
I think it would be bigger if like if you only worked out upper body.
Well, that's kind of what I
'Cause you
do
see
though.
those
That's the
guys that are-
problem. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you seem proportionate.
Oh, thank you. So I just seem skinny all over. Great. I'm going to be spending like 4 hours in the gym directly after this episode. But yeah, I mean, I've always thought like, yeah, if I could get my whole body to get big,
Yeah.
because my upper body I can get big if I want to. My lower body just will never cooperate, and everyone's like, oh, well, if you'll lift heavier, it doesn't work for me.
Right.
It just doesn't happen. My little brother's the exact same way, but I've always thought like, if I could get my lower body to match how big I can get with my upper body,
Yeah.
I would probably be so confident. But you're
So what's
saying
it called when it's both the top and bottom half?
when neither one can get
What's
big,
that?
that's called skinny little bitch syndrome, actually.
That's nothing
I got.
steroids won't fix. I got a guy for you.
Well,
got
so what I do want to know, like, what other effects did that have, not just on his ego, but on just like, because people always say like it shrinks parts of your manhood. People, there's like, did he have other?
Good
people talk
question.
about acne. Is there
Yeah,
are
did
there
his
other
balls
side
get really
effects?
small? Was he losing his hair?
I don't want to speak too much of it because.
Well, let's just talk in general because you've dated
Yeah.
a lot of bodybuilders and they're probably all on gear, right?
So I will say for the most part, it's very easy to know who's on stuff just because they do get a really big chest. They do. I forgot what it's called. It's like
Where they get the puffy
is it
nipples.
gyno something or.
I've heard about guys having to go like for surgery, literally to get rid of boobs.
So once they get like it'll come to me, but they pretty much produce like breasts, and they actually produce like, it's not milk, but it's like a pus, and they can like squeeze their nipples
so
and pus will come
gross.
out. But there's
They're
no,
lactating.
yeah, and there's no way to get rid of that naturally. You have to have a surgery for it.
Yeah.
That, and then like obviously the body acne is like a whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
but I would say the biggest thing is the hormonal imbalance.
Just the roid rage,
Like you
essentially.
literally go from like normal to crying on the floor to screaming.
Yeah, well, yeah, because you're
It's
messing
all
up your
over.
testosterone and estrogen levels, right?
Yeah, and your body, especially if you don't do it the correct way. Like if you
Yep.
do it where you don't do off cycles, you don't
Mm-hmm.
do like the what is it, post something.
I don't know, something to estrogen
PCT
blockers,
or
right, or
something.
whatever.
It's like after you get off a cycle, you take a supplement that helps like get your body back to normal.
Right.
He didn't really do that. He would just do steroids to SARMs. So his body was just like all over the place.
I mean, the other body, because you've dated multiple bodybuilders, it sounds like. I mean, was it pretty similar for all of them?
100%.
Are there any of these huge guys that claim to be natural that are?
Three of them. I don't think so. I haven't really met a guy that is like so huge, you know, like in that aspect, that is like actually 100% natural.
Yeah. That's, I hear guys say that. I'm like, there's no way that you're not doing
They're
gear.
doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nobody ever says that about me.
No one's ever accused you of being on steroids, Elliott?
Yeah. But I
same.
would pick it up so fast. And so it was interesting though, how like it takes me a couple times to learn my lesson, because after I was married, I told myself when I'm ready to date again, I'm never going to date somebody on steroids ever. And the first guy I started dating actually wasn't. He was a professional fighter though, but he wasn't on steroids. And I remember having a panic attack because I went into his bathroom when he wasn't there. And I looked under his cabinet. I was like looking, I was not doing anything sketch. I was like looking for like mouthwash or something.
Sure.
And I found a bunch of needles, but they were the same needles my ex used to shoot up with. And so I had a panic attack because I was like, oh my God. Because he wasn't like a huge dude.
Right.
Like he could probably take out anybody he wanted to, but he was not a big guy. And in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, I thought he was trying to do steroids to get bigger because he knew like the past guys I dated were bigger.
Yeah. Turns out he was just doing heroin.
No, so I almost broke up I almost left. Like it triggered so much PTSD in me that I texted my girlfriend. I was like, oh my God, I just found these needles. Like, I think he's doing steroids. He lied. Like, he knows my past. And I like packed up all my stuff and I was about to leave. And I texted him. I said, hey, will you just be honest with me? Like, what are these for? And he didn't message me back for the longest time because he was like training.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting at the house like
freaking out.
And I was like, should I leave? Should I stay? Like, should I hear him out? And he messaged me back and was like, oh, it's to drain my ears.
Oh, the
And I'm
cauliflower
like,
ear.
Oh my gosh, I need to get it together.
Ew, they have to drain the.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So he had to do that like all the time because he had like big cauliflower ears.
Yeah.
But oh my goodness, I'm like, it's so bad that like seeing those needles triggered me so much that I was literally having a panic attack, and it had nothing to do with steroids. But like that's how messed up like my whole marriage has like scarred me.
You were so traumatized from your ex-husband.
Yeah.
You know, doing all this gear that it literally almost just made you throw up your hands and leave. Like the physical reaction that you had to it.
Yeah, like my heart was beating really fast. I was like sick to my stomach. Like it literally like brought me back to like that, because I mean all of our fights were around him doing steroids, and then he would promise me he wouldn't do them anymore, and then I would find them, like he would hide them all over the house, and he would get them shipped to other people's houses. And
that's like a drug addict.
No, it was.
I mean, that's kind of crazy.
He ended up telling me towards the end, he said, Alyssa, unfortunately, this is a part of me now, and you vowed to love me for me, and this is me being on these supplements. And if you can't love me for this, then maybe we shouldn't be together.
Oh, wow.
Even though in our vows, I knew he was doing them when we first got together, but I didn't know much about steroids. I was young, and I was like, oh, they make you big, whatever. But then when we got married, I told him, I was like, once I learned more about them, because I did a bunch of research, because I'm like a health freak, and I realized how bad they were for you. And I'm like, I told him, I said, you know, like, I love you for you. Like, you're married now. I don't, you know, and also it only helped him gain like I was like under 10 pounds of muscle mass. Like he was a huge dude naturally, actually.
So it wasn't even necessary for him.
I mean, to get to where he felt like it was necessary to have that like more puffy look.
Was he like a professional bodybuilder, or was this just like
not even not professional?
That's crazy.
Yeah. He just was like military, so he spent all of his time in the gym. But his whole family's like that. Like everyone in his family has like a 6-pack. They're all jacked. Like all 12 of his siblings. I'm not even kidding. They're all perfect bodies.
Are they all on gear, you think?
No,
Oh,
I
just
think
him.
really mainly just him. But it was just kind of crazy. So yeah, he vowed. I told him, I was like, you know, and we were very religious at the time, and his family is very religious. So in the Bible, it says to treat your body like a temple.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. I didn't read the Bible. But
I just love the guess on that because you're right.
But
you're 100% right.
He would like put it in my head. Like he would like always like, I wasn't as religious as he was, but he would just like read quotes and stuff out of the Bible and like kind of use it. now I'm an adult. Like now that I'm like older, I realize he used it more like in a controlling way.
He was just gaslighting you. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but anyway, so he did promise me that he was, once we were married, that he was going to stop. And then about 6 months in, I was in his car. We had finished working out in the gym, and I lifted up the middle console. I went to the car before him, and I found them in the middle console. It was like a little vial, and I instantly poured it out on the floor.
Did he freak?
Well, he didn't know yet, but I was freaking out because so right before our actual wedding, like the night before, we got into a huge fight over it. And then he vowed to, he was like, I love you. Like, I'm going to put my body first. I'm going to like treat myself. I'm going to be healthy. I want to be there for you. Oh, the other thing is he was in the military, and I had a good career. So
yeah, and you're not supposed to do that. And it's illegal anyway. Yeah.
So I had like my own place. I was like, had my own career. I was giving up pretty much everything that made me independent in who I was to be a wife, to follow him to England and to be there for him while he pursued his career.
Right.
So when I found out he was doing them again, my first thought was, if you get kicked out of the military, I gave up everything just for you to break your vows and kind of ruin everything for us. Yeah. So I brought it up. So anyway, so when I found them in his car, we were already in England. I'd already moved everything. This was like
you were already in
later.
deep. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I knew something was up because like he was being like a little weird, but I just thought maybe he was like being stressed at work. And I found them in his car and I instantly called his mom and was like, hey, she was somebody I looked up to for advice. And she was like, okay, well, maybe talk to him about it. Try not to get upset. Try to hear his point of view, and then make a decision going forward.
Right.
And at the in their family, like divorce is like not a thing. So I didn't say anything. As soon as he came back to the car, I was like, my heart was just like, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, I just found out he just like pretty much. I felt like he cheated on me.
He lied. Well, he definitely lied.
Yeah.
And it's obviously a problem. Like if you have to lie about something like that, it's already become a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I waited until we got back to the house, and I didn't talk like the whole ride home. I'm just like, oh my God, how am I gonna like bring it up? And he's just like, da, 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 like being normal. We get to the house.
Can't wait to shoot up when I get home. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as soon as we got home and I put my stuff down, and I looked at him, I said, hey, I'm gonna give you one time to be honest. Is there anything you need to tell me right now that you've been keeping from me? The guy obviously knew.
Yeah.
And he goes, what are you talking about? Ooh. So I pulled out the empty vial. And I said, well, can you explain this? And he lost his shit. He starts screaming and cussing at me, grabbed the bottle, was like, you crazy bitch. Like, you dumped it out. Like, I can't just stop steroids like that. Because you can't. Technically, you're
you
not,
absolutely
it's like
can't.
Not healthy. So he I didn't really realize that at the time. And I was like, oh shit. But
he reacted just like a drug addict would though. Like when I was still fighting
he
that.
got caught lying.
Yep.
And instead of being like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
He freaked out.
He freaked out and called me a crazy psycho. And then like freaked out. And I was just like, all right, I'm done.
Huh.
You broke your vows. I'm done. And I packed up my stuff. I moved in with a friend down the street. And I was trying to figure out the whole divorce thing. Went to talk to the attorneys and got the divorce paperwork, left it on the table, and was like, hey, you gotta fill this out. Like I'm leaving. And he like was on his hands and knees like begging for me, like, please don't leave. I'm sorry, I'll never do it again. And I spent like a week away from him, and then was like, okay, I moved to England. Like it's not like I can just go back to mom and dad's for like a weekend, So I was like, okay, we got to work through this. Like he's the love of my life. It's not like he cheated on me. If he's truly serious about it, we'll do therapy. Like we'll make it work. So I moved back in. He was the perfect husband for like 4 months or so. We like traveled to multiple countries. We hung out all the time. Like he was just cleaning. Like he was just perfect, everything. And then he started being weird again. And maybe, I don't even think it was 4 months. It was like 3 months. And I found out through a friend that he had gotten orders to go to like, I forgot, it was like Croatia or like one of like more like fun islands for like a small deployment. It wasn't even like a real deployment. Like you just go for a little bit. Like they put you up in an apartment. Like
like a TDY type thing, right?
Yeah, like super chill. Yeah. Like you like dream to have something like that. You get paid a shit ton of money to just like go hang out.
Yeah.
And the wives get to go and visit for a long time. So I was so excited because I was like, I don't want to spend another winter in England. Like it's like the worst thing ever. So I told my girlfriend, her husband was going. I was like, oh my God, we're gonna have so much fun. Like while our guys are working, we can go to the beach. And so when he came home, and I was like, oh my God, congratulations. Like I found out about your deployment. He was like, oh yeah, you're not going.
What?
I was like, you don't want me to go? Why? He goes, well, this is my first like real deployment, and I like want to experience it like without my wife being there. I'm like, well, it's not a real deployment for one, and two, all the other wives are going.
Yeah, calm down. First of all, you're going to Croatia. You're not going to Saudi Arabia. All right.
Yeah, so we got into a huge fight about that, and it made me feel like, well, that's weird that he doesn't want me there. And so because he became like really weird about it, I decided to dive a little deeper to figure out what the heck's going on. Well, he had gotten a new phone when we moved to England, but never moved everything over from his old phone. So I logged into his old phone.
Ooh, here we
opened
go.
up his messages. And
Yep.
I didn't even have to dig hard. Like, it was literally right there. It was like his group chat with his bros. And he was literally messaging all of these guys like, oh my God, I can't wait to go on this deployment, get away from my wife. I'm going to get so big and juicy and fuck a bunch of bitches.
What?
So I screenshotted all of it.
So big and juicy.
And no, literally. But
What?
Yeah. So at that point, I was like, okay, I get it now. And I didn't want him to know that I knew. So I went, had all the paperwork filled out. And when he was at work one day, I had already had prearranged everything. And when he was at work, I had the moving company come, and I packed up the entire house.
Whoa.
And on our bed, I left. So like we traveled the world together.
Yeah.
So we have these like memories from all. We kept like locks from like, so pretty much every country we went to, we would leave like a lock somewhere.
Oh, sure.
So
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
all the keys. And so I on our bed, I like left all of our keys, my original wedding ring. He like
Whoa.
over years he had wrote me like hundreds of love letters and made all these promises and our vows. And anyways, he was like a very big like romantic. So
Yeah.
all the sweet stuff that he's done for me over the years and all of our photos.
Honestly, he was probably such a big romantic because his estrogen levels were so high
It's true.
from the gear.
It is
please
true.
continue. Yeah.
No, it is very accurate. He's very like emotional.
Real men don't write love letters, is
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say.
Well.
If your testosterone is where it should be, you're not doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No. Yeah, because real men tell you to your face.
That's oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But yeah, so I left all this stuff on the bed, and then I wrote him a letter. It was like a final letter, like you need to finish filling this out, and you're never gonna see me again. And I literally moved back to the United States with all of our belongings. I left him nothing but our bed with all of our memories, and then like his clothes were left in a bag.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I took
that
everything.
is cold-hearted, but at the same time, probably exactly what you needed to do.
Exhausted.
Yeah.
My heart was exhausted of all the lies and the fighting and the, it was just like a lot of I gave up a lot.
Yeah.
And I knew that the other thing was, there was more than one therapy appointment that we would have to take different cars because he would come from work and I would go and he would stand me up.
So y'all were going to couples counseling and he was just like,
there
well,
was
I'm not
a
going to
couple
go.
times he would just like be like, oh, like he would go home and be like, oh, I would be like, where are you? And he'd be like, oh, I'm at home taking a nap. I'm tired. I had a long day. When it was literally, we were supposed to be going together. So he was just putting in no effort. And then he would like use a lot of the quotes out of the Bible, like, oh, if I don't cheat on you, then you need to let me do what I want to do, pretty much. Like as long as I don't cheat on you, and I'm not hurting you physically, you should let me, like you're being controlling by not letting me do whatever I want to do.
Oh, that's super gaslighty. That's kind of creepy, actually.
There's a lot more to it. Like he like, that's why I think I created bad dating habits moving forward after him, because most of my experience with men was with him. So
yeah.
I learned a lot of my habits and like.
That's all you knew. Yeah.
Yeah. So it definitely, I noticed it like in my before this relationship, that's when I fully was like, all right, I need to be single and go to therapy, because otherwise I'm going to keep reliving the same experience.
Well, at least you were self-aware about it, because a lot of people would just stay in those old habits and behaviors, right? And patterns of thinking.
I will say that I think the reason I was able to get out of those patterns is from psychedelics.
Really?
I don't think I would have come to those conclusions, because I've done therapy plenty of times, plenty of years before, and still we're still doing the same cycles of reliving the same stuff.
Do you feel like the psychedelics like help just kind of rewire parts of your brain or allow you to make connections?
Rewire, but I think like when I first really started diving into psychedelics, it took me back to like the very beginning. It's like I literally relived every single thing, but from a outside point of view.
So you could look at those experiences objectively?
Yes. So I could look at them and be like, wow, I was acting like this and making these decisions based on, here, all these different experiences. So it's such a crazy experience to live through that. And if to me, it felt like because I've done pretty much every psychedelic you can do at this point,
Yeah.
besides ayahuasca, which is next on my list.
Oh, you haven't done ayahuasca yet?
No, but I've done DMT a ton.
Okay.
Which
I'm assuming psilocybin and
oh yeah,
ketamine probably.
I actually did ketamine therapy.
Yeah.
So I think ketamine therapy is really what got me to where I am now.
I've heard that from a lot of people.
And you don't need to do it long term. Like I did it for a few months, and it opens up a different part in your brain that's like, it makes your ego go out the door. So like, you know, when you sit with a therapist, for me anyways, I can put my foot, you know, my best foot forward, and I'm talking, and I feel like I'm not getting a ton out of it. I'm just talking about my experiences, which feel good, of course, but I'm not learning anything from it. When you do ketamine, it rewires like neural pathways in your brain, actually. So you're actually like, it completely, it's so different. It's hard to explain, but I now, if certain patterns come up in my current relationship, I can acknowledge it and then prevent it from happening.
Yeah. It allows you to see it from a different perspective. Like you were saying, I mean, I did all that stuff, not in a medicinal or therapeutic way, obviously.
But still, I feel like even still, you can still gain some kind of knowledge from it.
I really didn't.
From DMT?
No, or ketamine or psilocybin or any of it. But I think it's
Maybe
just,
not that
I
you
wasn't
know
in the
of.
right headspace.
Yeah, that's
you know
true.
what I mean? That's a really good point, actually. Maybe not that I know of.
Yeah.
Maybe there have been like things that I've learned or things that I've done differently, completely subconsciously, just because I had that in my system at some point. I don't know.
I kind of believe that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people talk about ketamine therapy and how helpful it really is. So it's interesting to hear you say that.
I think it's huge also because I was a first responder. So my brain was completely different than how it is now when I was in that career field. And I feel like when I was in that career field, I had to put so many feelings and emotions away to be able to do that job successfully that when I got out of that job, I had to like re-feel everything to feel like a human again.
Yeah.
Like it didn't take, before I didn't really get sad. I didn't get angry. I didn't feel happiness to the fullest extent. I was just kind of like at a baseline all
You were
the time.
disassociating all the time
Everything.
because of the traumatic stuff that you were seeing as a first responder. And you were, tell me what you did again?
I was at EMT for Austin EMS.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah. So you're seeing all kinds of crazy shit.
Like I could literally be doing like CPR on somebody and be thinking like, oh, what dinner are we going to be cooking together tonight?
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You're resuscitating someone,
Like literally.
just planning
I'd be like, oh my God,
an evening
I'm so
date.
hungry.
Yeah.
Or, oh my God, I can't wait to get back to the station and go to sleep. Or, oh my God, I have to go to the bathroom so bad.
That is an extreme level of disassociating.
But it's all
I don't
of
even know
us.
if I'm
it's
capable
not
of
just
that.
me.
Yeah.
It's literally every single person in that career field.
Really?
And it becomes more of that job becomes more of an identity than just a normal career. Because when I got out of it, I was like, who am I?
Interesting.
People, when they would introduce me, they're like, oh, this is Alyssa. She's a EMT for Austin. You know, like people are like proud to talk about it. So when I lost that job, I was like, well, who am I? Like, what is my purpose?
And is that when you started experimenting with plant medicine, let's call it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because when you're a medic, you can't do anything like that. You get drug tested constantly. And when I was just drinking. And when I got out of EMS, I stopped drinking. I'm gonna stop drinking again after this. No, I pretty much like never drink, but I definitely love psychedelics, like still to this day, even if it's just like microdosing.
So you're using them medicinally and recreationally?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So there's
depending on,
there's
what I'm doing.
dual aspects to it in that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Cool.
And I still feel like every time I do it, I gain some kind of
Wait, are you tripping right now?
knowledge.
We'll never know. She might be, y'all. That's interesting. Okay. So you got out of this relationship with your ex-husband.
Yeah.
You became an EMT, dealing with all kinds of traumatic
What's
stuff.
crazy is when I came back, I moved back and I didn't let him know. I didn't talk to him for like 2 years afterwards. Yeah, I changed my number.
You left and he had no way of getting in touch with you?
Yeah. Well,
That's
I gave
wild.
him. I gave him like so many chances.
Yeah.
I wanted it to because I knew that he was going to try to get me back, and
Yeah.
I didn't want. Once I already packed everything up and started my life over in the States, I didn't want to be, persuaded to.
Right.
It was just it's a big move. That's a big move.
You think you think he would have been able to convince you like to give him another
Absolutely.
chance? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So I needed some time.
You had to have the
just,
clean break.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what's crazy is like 6 months after I moved back, he ended up actually getting kicked out of the military. So my
Whoa.
fears, the whole reason I wanted him to stop,
Yeah.
not only for his health, but for the career he ended up losing anyways.
Was it related to his using?
No,
Oh.
He got busted smoking weed.
Oh. That's the worst. Honestly, that shouldn't even be,
It should not be
a thing. Yeah,
yeah.
but whatever. Okay, so you come back to Austin. You reignite your career.
Yeah.
You're an EMT for how long?
It was like a little under 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, so this was like something that you did for a long. No wonder you
Like
had
I
to
burned
do.
through like all my early 20s doing like a very serious job. Like I like missed out on almost all my birthdays. Every holiday I was working during COVID, during the ice storm. Like,
Are you modeling at this point as well?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're EMT
I
and
kinda
modeling?
had to because like they don't pay a ton.
Right.
And the thing is the city was like, oh, we're going to give you a huge pay increase to balance out inflation.
Yeah.
Because when I first started, like what they were paying me was fine because
Yeah.
it wasn't like as expensive as things are now. Well, as things progressed and the pay didn't go up to balance it out, but they started paying the police more and the firefighters more, but our pay never went up. It was like 20 cents or something like that. So I was like really wanting to buy my own home.
Okay.
And I knew that, you know, like you can see, like anybody can go online and actually see how much each person's making per year. Because like the payroll is like pre-planned.
It's public
out for you.
information. Yeah. Mhm.
And so like you'll know like, oh, if I work in this position for 5 years, this is how much I'm going to be making in 5 years. So it's like not great, you know.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm like, wow, I'm not going to be able to buy a house.
I've got to supplement my income.
Yeah, literally. And so, and I was only working like in the beginning, I was only working every fourth day because you do 24 on, 3 days off. But then towards the end, so I could do more modeling jobs to like make up for it.
Right.
Well, towards the end, we lost a lot of medics because it was just the job was getting harder. Austin grew. There wasn't enough medics to cover it. So I was working like every other day. So I didn't have time to do other jobs. And so anyways, long story short, I saw all my girlfriends making like stupid money.
Yeah.
Doing not much more than what I was doing already. And so I decided to give it a chance and it just like took off. And this is a whole nother story that I've talked about a million times, but the city ended up trying to fire me over it. And I fought them on it. I got suspended for 6 months with pay. I had to get a team of attorneys to fight on it. And then I ended up getting my job back and then I got vested with the city and then quit.
Wait, so they tried to fire you over your modeling career. And I'm assuming it's because it was
OnlyFans.
the OnlyFans.
It was the platform OnlyFans.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they wanted to fire you over that.
Yeah.
Even though you're just trying to supplement the ridiculous income that they were providing, right?
And I told them that, like, we had like a miniature, like, I don't want to say court case because it wasn't like actually in a court, but it was like
an arbitration type.
It was, yeah. Like I had like the whole city council was there, like my chiefs, commanders, like it was like a full thing. I had a team of attorneys, they had attorneys.
Wait, you're in front of the city council trying to explain why you should be allowed to show ass on the internet?
Well, so what happened was a female that I still to this day don't know who it was, but somebody that didn't like me.
Yeah.
Working for the city.
Uh-huh.
I get it. But she purchased like all my content and massively spread it throughout the city.
What?
Yeah.
Like,
So,
just
still,
blasted it out to all the city officials and stuff?
And like still to this day, I have people messaging me like, oh, your photos like in the fire station, or oh, we still have your photos. Like,
what? Well, I mean, was it, obviously it was very compelling content.
it was just,
If that's the case, right? I mean,
my face
everyone.
wasn't even in it. I don't think it was like my lips and like down.
Really? And that just went to everyone in the city.
It went viral. Yeah. Not just in the city. Like I had people from San Antonio, from like Killeen, like Dallas. Like it massively spread.
Hey, saw your ass. Huge fan.
I mean, I made a shit ton of money.
I mean, she really helped you.
No, it was actually phenomenal because the moment that happened, I increased all my prices because I knew everybody was going to start subscribing.
Yep.
But the thing is, I didn't post like anything inappropriate on my page.
You had to buy it.
Yeah. And so like so many people would pay the upgraded price to look, and then they would see that it was just like not more than my Instagram, and then like unsubscribe.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So you made a boatload off of your your spicy pictures going viral amongst city officials. That's crazy. I wonder if the mayor saw it. Do you think the mayor saw it?
I don't know.
I wonder if Greg Abbott saw
it. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, he might still like it. We don't know.
Not Greg. The other one's gay.
Yeah, no. Greg Abbott's definitely not gay.
Not him. Not
he's.
him.
I don't know what he is. He's wild. He's in a wheelchair.
Yeah. No. It became like a huge thing, but it did benefit me. I mean, I was able.
Was it in the news or anything?
No, the city kind of kept it on. I should have done that, but like I didn't at the time. I didn't know I was going to leave that job. I really did want to keep the job, so I was trying to follow all their rules, and I was just trying to get it to go away.
Right.
And because I really did like that job, And they just made it so difficult that like when I finally did get my job back, I was like, this is not worth it. And I was already being like at that time I was pretty exhausted because they were working me really hard. All of us were working really hard to the point where when I started making money, I started paying people to take my shifts. So like you could, I had like months worth of paid vacation.
Yeah.
But you couldn't take paid vacation because you had to get someone to cover your shift.
Mm-hmm.
And so I literally was paying people $300 to take my shifts. And they got paid time and a half to work my shift. So
yeah. And you're just making it up on the internet.
And I was making
no
it
big
up,
deal
like,
for
no
you.
big deal. So I was just like all the time, and we had massive emails. So I would just be like, oh, if somebody takes my shift tomorrow, I'll pay you $300. So people got upset that I was doing that. And then also when I got suspended with pay, and then I just kept traveling.
Right.
And like still making money. And then
basically rubbing it in everyone's face.
Oh, well, I also bought a house and like 3 cars. And I put like my OnlyFans on, like I bought like a more luxury car, and I put like my OnlyFans all over it. So anytime I would go to the station after that, like I was just kind of like fuck y'all.
Just
like,
advertising yourself at work.
Because in my mind I'm like, you guys really went out of your way to hurt me when we all like right now we really need to be working together because we're all struggling. And I'm finally doing well and you guys are coming at me.
Right.
Like put that energy towards something else, like maybe the gym. Because, yeah. So
there's the bully. There's the bullying. You fat jealous bitches.
But you want to know what else I did?
What?
I put a bounty out
On the person who leaked your photos.
Yeah.
And you still never found out who it was?
$20,000.
$20,000.
20 grand for somebody to turn in the person that that told on me.
Wait, but at the same time, that crazy, wild behavior. Love it though. But also the fact that you had $20,000. She made you $20,000 basically.
Way more than that.
And then you were gonna
Yeah.
publicly shame her.
To be honest, I think it's a miracle that I didn't find out because I was unhinged at that time. I don't think I think I would have done something that would have put me in trouble. Or at least paid somebody to do something.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was heated.
I mean, if you're willing to put a $20,000 bounty on someone's head, yeah, there's no telling what you would have ended up doing.
I'm a very vengeful like Scorpio, so like it's in my soul.
Oh, isn't it Scorpio season right now? Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's like your time of year or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't even know how I know that. That's
Everyone
actually
be careful.
pretty gay that I know that. So, well, that's okay. So you ended up quitting the job anyway.
Yeah.
And then that's when you started just modeling full time?
Yeah.
And how long ago was that? Years ago?
Yeah.
Okay. So now you are a full-time model.
Yeah.
Primarily
like
doing
I don't even work. Like that's
car
all
stuff,
I do.
right? Yeah, it's so awesome.
I
like,
literally just like travel and do
I don't know why
photos.
every woman doesn't at least try.
They should try.
Yeah, just give it a shot.
I mean, no offense to the male species, but
we're terrible.
It's very easy to make money off y'all.
Oh yeah, we're ridiculous. Elliott, do you subscribe to any accounts?
I don't.
Not at all?
I've never paid for it now.
Wow, that's actually pretty impressive.
Well, it's free, so.
This is true. Well, in Texas, it's a little tricky now. You got to get a VPN and everything.
Oh,
you didn't know about this? How do you not know
I don't watch-
this? Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
You just make it. Yeah.
I don't really make, actually.
That's an important distinction,
Yeah.
right? So if someone were to go to your site, they're not going to find couple type stuff.
Oh,
It's
God,
just
no.
okay.
No. Yeah, it's mainly just like
Solo content.
yeah, like
Okay.
when I first started, my whole thing before I got into more like exotic cars is I traveled to different countries and I would just do like topless photos, like under a waterfall or on a beach but they were tasteful. I mean, I wasn't just like now is a little bit more whatever, but
I think that seems fun too. Then thing, yeah, that looks exciting. Have you? I mean, like in your experience, what kind of content do you think guys like the most?
I have noticed, like, when I first started, I was doing, like, all professional stuff. Like, hire a photographer, hire a videographer. Surprisingly, you make more money when I make more money when I don't wear makeup.
Yep.
When I, like, roll out of bed, my hair is messed up, and I, like, do a selfie in the bathroom. Like, they want to see... Because if they're not paying... Like, you can get literally anywhere.
Right.
You can get anywhere. People are not paying necessarily just for that. They're paying to have a relationship with you.
A parasocial relationship.
Yeah.
I have said that so many times.
Like a fantasy world in a way, because they want to get to know you for you.
Right.
And like a lot of them have been fans from just following my social media. So for them to be able to get to know me, that's what they're paying for.
They want to see the candid, real, genuine moments, right?
Yeah.
They don't care about you doing some, super fancy
They don't
photo
care.
shoot. Yeah, it's
Like
just
my-
the selfies.
Yeah, so all my professional stuff is strictly just for Instagram. My OnlyFans is like low quality camera phone. I don't edit I don't edit stuff on OnlyFans. Like I don't like it's just like it's really me.
Yeah.
Like I'll do like a quick little video. Like, if I go live, sometimes I'll be really tired and I'll be like, oh, I'm just gonna go live and talk with you guys for a little bit. So ask some questions. I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm tired. Like I'm very just myself. And
I think that's
honestly,
so smart.
and not just that, but like the community on OnlyFans is so nice. Like the guys are so respectful. Like there's like certain times and places when they're allowed to express themselves, but way more appropriate, way more respectful than any social media platform I've ever been on.
That actually does surprise me.
Like they call me ma'am. They're like, oh, are
So
you
they're not
available?
sending you crazy DMs like they do on other social media
Right,
platforms.
and even if they did, I wouldn't even be able to see them unless I choose to see them.
Mm-hmm.
OnlyFans blurs all the photos out.
Yep.
You can't just send me a picture,
Right.
But on Instagram, all the time. I open up my spam messages. Usually I just clear them out, but I like to look through there to see if there's like, sometimes people that don't follow me will message me stuff.
Sure.
But yeah, people can just send you whatever.
Oh yeah. No, I
Social
experienced
media
that.
is brutal. OnlyFans is not necessarily like that, but I think it's because they're paying for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people do request like, oh, will you, talk shit to me or whatever, and then
They
I'm
want you to
like,
degrade them.
Oh,
I'm sure. Yeah, you seem like the type of person that would really go for that, like almost like a dominatrix
100%
type approach, right?
I'm a very like dominant, like alpha type female.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that's another reason I've always been attracted to these dudes that kind of portray that.
Right.
But in the long run, they're not actually alpha. They're
Yeah.
beta.
It's all
They're
fake.
beta in disguise.
Mm-hmm.
So my boyfriend now is like the most alpha, like leader, but he's a true alpha. And the reason I know that is because he walks into a room and people automatically respect him.
Yeah.
But they look up to him not because they're intimidated, but because they look to him for guidance
Right.
and leadership. And it's like it's so different. Like people think, oh, this alpha man is gonna be jacked and super tough and scary and intimidating. It's like maybe from the initial, like what you see from initially, but in reality, once you get to know them, they're not alpha.
Right.
They cry when they get their feelings hurt in the bathroom.
See, Elliott, there is hope for us, dude. Like us skinny guys, we just have to. We just have to be more confident, but we're also Elliott and I are both comedians.
Yeah.
And so
But being funny, I think, is a number one quality that
it
attracts
is.
women.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with that. But at the same time, they still want like, a strong leader, provider. And we're just not that at all. Elliott, I don't know, maybe you have a different experience on it.
That is
But
definitely, I think, because like when it comes to the intimate parts of the relationship, I'm never insecure about those aspects. Like I like to make people laugh. I like to cook. I like to hang out.
oh, I
like
thought
to
you were
have a
just
good
going to
time.
talk about how big your dick was. Okay. When it comes to the intimate parts of the relationship,
mean,
I'm packing.
But
It's a
what
hog.
What I am actually insecure about is like if shit were to actually go down, could I protect her?
Okay.
And
That's a good mindset, honestly.
I don't know.
Oh, you could not. No, I mean,
Yeah.
I think there is the perception that in order to be like an alpha, and I don't even think it's alpha anymore. Isn't it like Sigma is the new thing?
I don't know.
Right? Like you're the strong, quiet type or something like that. I don't know.
I don't
Whatever.
know, but I
I've
like
heard
that.
that. I've heard that
I
term,
do
but-
like that though. Like the
Right?
silent people can because my boyfriend is very like keeps to himself. He's very observant.
Yeah.
We walk into a room and I know that he's like naturally he never turns his back to like a door unless he actually has to. Like staying
Oh,
in a
interesting.
restaurant, he always sits facing the door. And
You think that's trauma for him? Maybe.
No, he has no trauma. I think it's just like I don't think being an alpha is something you can technically really learn. I think it's like in your in your soul.
Yeah,
Like
it's
you're
just
either
part
a
of who you
leader
are.
or you're not.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like we need hunters and we need gatherers, right? Like we can't have everybody being an alpha.
We need. We need.
Some people need to be bitchy.
Skinny little bitch boys like Davey and Elliott. We need
I
that.
definitely call a lot of men beta.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, if you want to insult someone,
Oh yeah, that'll get
you
them.
call them a beta, and they will just
lose
they
it.
will take that. Maybe not to your face, but like for a fact they're going home and they're like pondering.
They're thinking about it. It's gonna keep them up. Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
But I like when I call people that, like I mean it. I'm not like, oh my god, you're such a beta. Like I'm like, you're being very beta right now.
That hurts actually a little worse.
And let me explain why.
Yeah.
And I will point out what they're doing.
Have you ever had a guy like react physically to you, like maybe pointing out some of their flaws like that? You've dated fighters and
I've never had
bodybuilders.
luckily I've never been in any physical altercations. I also train in martial arts, and I also have I'm 5'4" and I weigh about 115 pounds, but I have the mindset of like a 7 foot, 220 pound man.
Nice.
That's how I envision myself. So as crazy as that sounds, I like get myself in a lot of situations, but fortunately, I think I would also be able to get myself out of those situations. I also carry multiple weapons at all times.
This is terrifying right now. It's just, I feel like we're being warned right now, Elliott. I don't know if you're getting the same impression.
She's like, I got guns, knives, handcuffs.
I'm like, what do you want?
I can kick your ass. It sounds like your boyfriend has a bodyguard. That's just kind of what it sounds like. My God.
Yeah.
Although
But he brings the feminine out of me, so I don't have to act like this.
You know what? That's an interesting. I've heard a lot about like feminine energy, masculine energy, and
I
how.
never understood it until recently.
Really?
Because,
you think your boyfriend brought it out in you?
Yeah. So like when I would date all these like big masculine type dudes, I would still feel like I always felt like I was in competition with them. Like I always felt like we were always butting heads, like trying like who's gonna be alpha. Like I could never just let them be a leader. And I just felt like I always would like talk over them or try to like be a little bit more. I would just like. It's hard to explain. Just try to be more alpha over them.
Yeah. You would have to
It would be a
exist in that masculine energy, right?
Yes.
And that's not necessarily what you want to do. I'm assuming.
I don't think you can have a relationship like that, like a healthy one. And with my new relationship, it's not like that. Like if he tells me to do something, I respect him and I'll do it. I don't usually question it. I'll just do it. But I also trust that when he's telling me something to do, it's because he has the best intention for me and that he's asking me to do that with love. Not because he's trying to control me or like have dominance over me.
That's really interesting because I've heard a lot about this where men these days have a harder time tapping into their masculine energy.
It's because a lot of females now have to be more masculine.
They have to be more dominant.
I thought you were about to say, I've heard a lot about this. Healthy relationships. That sounds very fascinating.
What's that like? No, I think I've been in some healthy relationships.
That's
I do.
good.
Yeah.
What's that like?
It's difficult dating in our society today.
So, especially in Austin.
Oh, Austin's trash.
It's so hard.
Yeah, you were asking me about the Tony Hinchcliffe thing earlier before we started doing the episode.
I actually saw him right before that.
Did you really?
Yeah, I went to a bar in Austin and he was there and I talked to him because when I first saw him, I was like, I know you, but like I don't know how I know you. Because I totally forgot.
You want to talk about someone who like exudes that like alpha energy?
Joe Rogan?
Well, Joe does, yes, but Tony does too.
Really?
Like Tony, in my opinion, like
Yeah.
I've hung out with Tony a few times.
Alpha energy.
He just commands presence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I don't think it's necessarily how you look.
You're right.
He's not a big dude.
But yeah, the whole thing that Tony said about Puerto Rico at the Madison Square Garden rally for Trump. When he said that about Puerto Rico is a floating island of trash, I was like, dude, you live in Austin, bro. Austin is the trash pile of Texas.
It's just not an island. Like you could say the same about New York, which
it's landlocked. You're right, but
There's
it is
actually a lot of places
trash in
now in
Austin.
the States that you can say that about.
Yeah, but Austin,
unfortunately.
it's so like I've lived. I mean, I'm native Texan, but I've lived back in San Antonio for I think like 15 years now, something like that.
Yeah.
And I remember going to Austin when I first moved back to San Antonio and would have so much fun. I went to South by Southwest every year.
it's
I'd go
not
to
the
ACL.
same.
It is so different.
It's dangerous now too.
It is.
Like if you look at the news, almost even when I was a medic, like every shift there would be like stabbings, shootings, homicide. Like
I'm actually going to be doing a podcast episode with a buddy of mine about how a guy broke into his shop in downtown Austin on 6th Street.
Yeah.
It is the wildest story. It's crazy.
Wow.
But yeah, so be watching for that episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a hellscape in Austin right now.
I honestly don't go out at night anymore.
I
Ever.
barely
None
go
of my
out.
friends
I'm
do.
nervous walking on the streets of Austin by myself at night.
I just don't do it. Even during the day, I don't like to like park far from anything. And I actually do like carry a weapon like at all times, which is crazy because when I lived overseas, I solo traveled a lot. So like I've been to over 30 countries, a lot of them by myself. And I never felt threatened ever. Never had any issues, never carried a weapon. Felt completely fine walking by myself in countries I don't even speak their language. You know, meeting people, hanging out with them. Never felt threatened, never had any issues. But here, I won't do that.
Really?
Yeah.
And I
in the
think
United States, let me clarify, not just
just
Austin,
U.S. in general.
But
okay.
I mean, like in Austin, absolutely. But like in the U.S. in general,
But do you think that's changed a lot all over, just in light of recent events? Not just the election. I'm not just talking about the election, but I'm talking about like the pandemic seemed to shift a lot of things.
Actually, sorry, I don't think I know.
Yeah.
Crime has gone up a lot because of all the defunding the police. Because the police cannot openly do their jobs fully because of all the consequences that come with every move they make.
I mean, we have seen that directly in Austin.
Well,
I mean,
I know firsthand that they are actually told, do not respond or react unless it's an act of crime. So if something like your house gets broken into and you call 911, you'll be put on a waiting list unless there's somebody in your house currently.
What?
Yeah.
So it has to be
an active crime.
Something's got to be happening. Like basically, it's already too late at that point.
Yeah. So life hack: if you need to call 911, tell them it's actively happening.
Okay.
Whether it is or it's not, because otherwise you're going to be put on a wait list unless there happens to be a cop available or in that area. But most likely, like those cops are, as soon as they're done with the call, they're going to another one.
And that's a direct result of the whole defund initiative.
As soon as they defunded the police officers. Like it didn't affect their pay, but it affected their resources, and a lot of people quit, and a lot of people retired.
I heard they had to literally like bus in state police because there weren't enough
state
personnel in Austin.
Or if you go downtown, it's like state troopers are posted up everywhere.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the police officer, like the morale is completely down. Everyone hates their lives, their jobs. Like there's so much hate towards them, and it's like everyone wants to hate police officers until you need to call them. And
you work directly with these guys. Yeah. So you saw it firsthand.
Yeah. And like I have a lot of family members that are police officers. And
oh, really?
I do understand, some people do abuse that power, but people abuse power in every job. Mm-hmm. But as a police officer, you need to let them do their jobs.
Right.
Support them, because when your house is getting broken into.
I just think if they would stop doing like traffic violations, I would love them so much more.
I think that they just need to step it up, giving tickets to people who drive slow.
There you go.
Because let me tell you, get the fuck out of my way.
Literally. What is it about Texas? Like we just don't know how to drive forward. It's just the skinny pedal on the right.
Even
just
if there's no other
push
cars, like get out of the fast lane. I don't care if you want to drive slow, but there's a lane for you.
Right.
Get out of my way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wait, how fast have you taken your car? I mean, you work in the exotic car industry a lot. Like, what's the fastest you've ever driven your car?
150.
Whew. That's like, was it on like a regular road or was it on a track?
A track.
It was on. I feel like you just lied right there. I saw your eye twitch when you said that.
I was gonna wink, but I forgot I can't wink.
You can't wink at all?
I can, but it's like not cute.
Oh,
it looks like a twitch. Like
it looks like you're just buffering or something. You just glitched out.
Yeah.
150. I mean, but you kind of have to do that because you work in that industry.
It doesn't. I don't have to do it.
I was trying to help you out there, but okay.
I mean, when a car gets to a significant speed fairly quickly, you don't even really feel the come up. Like it just happens.
That's so true.
Especially in like a Porsche 911, like you get to 150 so fast that it's like you don't even realize it until you look down, and then you're like, oh shit, I probably should slow down.
I should maybe just ease off the accelerator a little bit.
Yeah, but it doesn't take much. That's the thing.
No, you're right. If it's a performance vehicle like that, like that's built to race, like I used to drive some really, really fast cars. Now I drive a Ford Ranger, which is not fast at all. I think it tops out at about 80, I want to say. But yeah, I mean, the cars that I used to drive, I mean, one of them on that toll road between San Antonio and Austin, I had it up to 160.
Yeah.
And it felt fine. It felt like I could have gone even faster and been perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love toll roads. To me, those are racetracks.
Yeah. And they're
when there's not
built
other
different.
people, when there's not other people on.
Well, in Germany, you've got the Autobahn.
That's
right?
what I'm saying.
Now, granted, that is they use the same material that they build runways
Yeah, that's
for their highways.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you'll get pulled over. Yeah, if you're doing like under 100 or something like that. It's
Gosh,
crazy.
I wish we had that here.
That would be awesome.
Davies always said the Germans had a lot of good ideas.
Okay, easy,
German.
Elliott. You're German?
Yeah.
Elliott is Jewish. I don't know if you knew that. And so I would love to hear about just kind of like what you think about Jews in general. I'm just kidding. I don't want to go there. I'll just leave that
I was
alone.
about to do something really inappropriate, but I held back.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. We're trying to keep our
I'm
channel.
on camera.
You are on camera. But were you? I don't even. Oh, you were gonna salute. You were gonna do some sort of salute. Wow.
No, honestly, those were dark times. But my grandpa actually was in World War II and actually led a lot
On
of
which
the Jews.
side?
Great question, Davey.
Honestly, that's a really good question. On our side.
Oh, on our side. Okay. Okay. I just want. There was just a long pause there.
He has stories where he actually like led prisoners out of like different camps.
Probably some of Elliott's relatives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Some of the good ones.
Yeah, some of the survivors. Elliott's a survivor. I mean, look how skinny he is. He looks like he just got out of a camp. Oh my God,
I actually went to one in Germany, and it was like one of the craziest experiences, like
Really?
emotionally. Yeah.
just the heaviness of it.
The heaviness. Yeah.
Wow.
So like, it was one. So not all camps were killed.
Did you feel
camps.
bad for your heritage?
It made me ashamed.
Did
It
it?
made me ashamed for sure. Like, how is it that we, like, how as a human species, like, got to that? But the thing is like, yes, that's really well known.
Yeah.
Even though history is like trying to, delete it. But there's been so many other similar issues in our history.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
not talked about.
Atrocities, I mean, all over the world.
Yeah.
That one just happened to be kind of a big deal on like the public scale, I guess.
The public eye, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Like when people are like, oh, the world right now is in such a bad place and everything is so bad. It's like, if you think about it, it's always been bad. Like there's never a time in history where it's been peace on earth.
Well, a lot of that is because World War II was the first photographed war.
Right.
And so it was
That's
the
a
first
good-
time
that's a
people
good
who weren't
example.
in war were seeing it, and they had no concept
They
of,
had no
this is
idea.
what it really looked. And then Vietnam was the first filmed war, and that
Yeah.
was then a whole new level of protest that had never existed, where the public was like,
Yeah.
this needs to stop.
Yeah, we got to quit doing this. And I agree. Like,
Well, it's
there
still
are certainly some
happening.
things in our day and age right now, especially right now, that are disturbing and unfortunate, right? But to say that this is the worst America's ever been is just ludicrous,
Right.
in my opinion. I understand some of the fear,
Yeah.
some of the anxiety that we're experiencing right now, but like, it's not as
People just
bad
get
as people are
carried
trying to
away
make
with
it
what
out.
they're currently feeling
Yeah.
and observing. People forget about the past. People don't look back and be like, wow, it could be way worse.
It could be a lot worse. Yeah. Okay. Well, that was an interesting little, diversion there, talking about wars and stuff. But obviously, you're educated on that too, so pretty cool. Alyssa, so for someone like you, that's coming from this this background of some difficult relationships, but you've made it through that, and you are self-aware, and you've been able to fix a lot of the behaviors and the patterns of thinking. I mean, what would be your advice from someone that potentially is struggling in, whether it's a traumatic, abusive, potentially type relationship? I mean, what do you tell people that are, kind of going through that?
Definitely don't try to do it alone. Yeah, definitely seek somebody that you respect. Don't go and try to talk to somebody that is out clubbing 24/7 and doesn't have their lives together for advice, but try to seek somebody that you want to be like, that you try to talk to somebody for advice that is your role model.
Yeah.
Because, you are who you surround yourself by, whether you know it or not. Like the 5 closest people to you are you're some of that. So you really just want to, try to get some help if you can. Like therapy is expensive, which is so unfortunate.
Yeah.
But now luckily they're, because a lot of people don't have health insurance now.
Right.
It's very expensive. And so there's a lot of apps now that allow you to do therapy where you're not spending over $100 for an hour of someone's time. And what's cool is even with ketamine therapy, like when I did ketamine therapy, I didn't go and do in-person ketamine therapy. I did it online.
What?
So you get a doctor's prescription. They send you the ketamine, and you every day they check in with you, and then you can do as many therapy appointments as possible. I forgot the brand name that I did it through.
We know somebody who does that. I can tell you his name after the pod.
Oh, fantastic. So we've got someone with experience on remote ketamine therapy.
Yeah, no, it's like pretty popular, and it's not that expensive. It's like I think I paid $120 a month, and you get unlimited therapy sessions. You're really just paying for the medication. They send it to your home, and like there's a text message program. So like they'll message you in the morning, like, how are you feeling, 1 to 10? And then if you rate like a 10, they'll be like, okay, great. Let us know if you need anything. If it's like a 1, they'll be like, okay, do you want to schedule an appointment? Or like, let's talk about it. And then they'll send you different stuff. And then you do your actual therapy appointments.
Wow. That's,
yeah.
I had no idea. But that was really helpful for
like,
you kind of.
Because I didn't want to go somewhere. I wanted to be comfortable in my own home and do it on my time. Yeah. And it was not expensive. And it just like, you know how they say like you can, when you do psychedelics, you open up your third eye?
Right.
I never understood that until now. Now I feel like I see everything that I do from a different perspective, and I make a lot of better choices and decisions, not only where I put my time and energy and who I give it to, but I just, if I find myself doing something that won't benefit me or is going to harm someone, before I usually act on that because I love that feeling, but now I don't. I used to feel like I used to have like a little demon or devil, whatever you want to call it, on my shoulder at all times. You know, like people have like the demon and like the angel.
Right.
I just felt like the demon would always like win.
Yeah.
I would always go towards like the dark side. Now I go towards the light side.
Oh,
I feel like I'm like a little angel now.
that's fun. But you still bully people. Yeah. I was gonna say, because you still bully people, and you know, you still have a good time. And
but I do it with love.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to better you. I'm not like bullying you because I'm like trying to hurt your feelings.
Right. You just want me to build muscle in my legs, right? Like that's why you give me such a hard time.
If I see a guy like disrespecting a girl or disrespects me, instead of just like going along with it, be like, oh my God, he's mean, and like go talk bad about him, I'm gonna definitely like belittle him in every single way possible. Oh, nice. So you're almost doing this as like a street justice. Why can't I talk? You're almost doing this as like a street justice type thing. Yeah. Like you're a vigilante. 100%.
For women now.
Literally.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That's actually like my dream job.
Being like a superhero?
No, like a hitman.
Okay. Wow.
But for women. But for women.
As the further along we get in this conversation, the scareder I get. So this has been terrifying, Alyssa. I know the question that everyone's going to want to know.
Would ever suspect it.
No, because
I look sweet and innocent.
Well, I wouldn't say that. You have very, very long hair, and that a lot of this is my own trauma. But someone with extremely long hair like you, I always am a little bit suspicious. Like something's going on there. There's something not. Those are extensions? Yeah. Oh, so you're doing that on purpose, which is even more sus. No, I'm just quite honestly. Oh, it is your real hair. Okay, yeah. So there we go.
I'm just curious where you're gonna go with that.
Well, where I was going with it is you're probably kind of a bad person. If you have hair. I'm kidding. You're amazing. And I know people are going to want to know, where can they find you online? Where do people follow you?
Literally every platform. It's the same. It's Alyssa Magnum. My OnlyFans does have exclusive after it. So it's Alyssa Magnum exclusive, but you can find it either way. Okay. Alyssa Magnum. Y'all look her up. Follow her, go support. You know that she is just out here trying to help other people, trying to do the right thing. And if you're into fast cars, or you know, just being naked, hit up Alyssa. Yeah, but go follow her. Please check it out. Elliott, you got anything you want to plug?
My Instagram, I guess, is Elliott Weisberg, ELLIOTT_Weisberg.
Perfect. Yeah. So go check out Elliott, y'all. You can follow me at Davey Jackson. Give us a like, a comment. Please subscribe and tune in for more just crazy cool conversations like we had with Alyssa today. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm so hungry.
Well, go get that double cheeseburger, girl. Little hair of the dog, maybe a shot of tequila, and a Whataburger. You know, there's one right down the street. All right. Well, best of luck to you. I really hope it goes well. Later, y'all. We love you. Bye.